Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. So, all right. So, when we leave, we'll go out of here, and we will pass. We'll go to first place. Chankazi. First, we'll see the samadhi of the Chankazi, and you'll see the two trees there. There's a Champaka tree and a Neem tree. Champaka tree is in relation to the Chankazi. Chankazi was known as Champak. And there's a Neem tree as well. Neem tree, of course, Nimai. And so that shows the intimate relationship, the friendship between Nimai and Chankazi. And so that samadhi is there. It's an important monument there. It's important evidence for the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because the Chankazi Samadhi is it's built where his home used to be, where his residence was. So, after seeing the Chankazi, but you know, we're not going to be stopping, so you can just offer obeisances and we'll move on, and then we will come to Murari Gupta's house. Really? So quick. Yeah? Well, that's after the yoga piece. Okay. So then we're going to go to Murari Gupta's house. There's deities there there's small deities, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman. They're not Murari Gupta's deities. Murari Gupta, of course, was a great devotee of Lord Ramachandra. And at one point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had requested Murari Gupta to give up the worship of Lord Ram and simply worship Radha and Krishna. And the whole night, Murari Gupta could not sleep, he could not rest, he was so disturbed because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had requested him to give up the worship of Sita and Ram. So the next morning, he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he fell at Mahaprabhu's feet and said, I will have to give up my life. You have asked me to give up the worship of Lord Rama and I cannot do it. I cannot follow your instruction. My heart does not allow me to give up the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he smiled and said to Murari Gupta, that's all right. You are Hanuman. You don't have to give up the worship of Lord Ramachandra. So Gaura Ganadeshtapika describes the identity of different personalities in Chaitanya Lila, and Murari Gupta, he is considered to be non-different from Hanuman. So Murari Gupta's house is there. Murari Gupta was a physician, he was an Ayurvedic doctor, and he would treat diseases, but he could also treat spiritual diseases. It said one time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had been given too much prasadam and he suffered from indigestion. Then he went to Murari Gupta, and Murari Gupta gave him some water from his pot and cured his indigestion. So Murari Gupta was very important because he witnessed all the childhood activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from his very birth. And Murari Gupta was such an intelligent person that he kept a diary of all of the pastimes. He'd witnessed all the pastimes of Chaitanya as a small child, and he kept a diary of all of these things. So this diary was very, very important when it came to compiling books like Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat, because Murari Gupta had witnessed all of these things and he'd recorded everything. So that when Krishnadas Kaviraj and when Vrindavan Das Thakur and Lochan Das Thakur were writing their books about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would consult the diary of Murari Gupta. Yeah, Murari Gupta Kocha. Murari Gupta. Is it available? Is anybody ever printed these things? Is it available? No? Sometimes, like Chaitanya Bhagavat, the original Chaitanya Bhagavat, you can actually see it. We went to one place, I don't remember the name of the place, but they had the original Chaitanya Bhagavat on palm leaves. And we were able to have darshan of that. You can see how they wrote everything, how it was all written by pen and written on palm leaves. And these palm leaves are still preserved today. So Murari Gupta's diary, I don't know if it's available. Nobody knows, nobody's seen copies of it, but it was available at that time. And it was consulted when they were writing the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Oh, really? Banuswami has already translated the diaries of Murari Gupta? Oh, so there you go. So it is available somewhere because Banuswami has translated that. So any of you who are interested to read about Murari Gupta, his diary, so you can get a book from Banuswami's people in Chennai. All right, so then after visiting Murari Gupta's house, we'll go past the Chaitanya Mat. Chaitanya Mat was established by His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. In the Chaitanya Mat, the presiding deities are Gandharvika and Giridhari, the very beautiful deities which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati personally arranged to install there in the temple. And you'll see also in that temple there are the four sampradayas are represented. As you go around the temple, as you go do parikrama around the temple, circumambulate the temple, you can see the acharyas from each of the four sampradayas. And they have, of course, Madhvacharya for the Brahma Madhva line, and they have Ramanujacharya for the Sri Sampradaya, and they have Vishnu Swami for the Shiva Sampradaya, and they have also Nimbarka for the line coming from the four Kumaras. So, Inside the Chaitanya Mat, it's a big compound, and they have also the Samadhi of Gorkishore Das Babaji, and then further around also you will see there's the Samadhi of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and Bhajan Kutir, and other Samadhis of other Acharyas after Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, different Acharyas who took over the management of the temple, became the Acharya there. So their Samadhis there, their Bhajan Kutir, their Tirtha Maharaj, people like this. So the Chaitanya Mat is quite a big place, and there's different buildings around the place. It's easy to get lost and get separated. The Samadhi of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is established there in Mayapur, but actually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he left the body in Calcutta. He had been in Puri, he'd been in Orissa, traveling and preaching. His health was not good. The devotees were worried about his health, and they could understand it was coming time for him to finish his pastimes in this world. He was traveling on the train coming back from Orissa, and every station, groups of devotees would assemble at the train station to meet him and to honor him and to offer their respects to him. And in this way he came to Calcutta, and then at the Bug Bazaar temple, that big marble temple, that was where he gave up his body. And so his divine body, after he disappeared, then his divine body was brought out to Mayapur. They came out, and by a special train, they brought his body and brought it in procession to Mayapur and laid his body in Samadhi there. In the Chaitanya Mat, they also established a replica of Govardhan Hill. They have their own Govardhan Hill, because we say everything in the Mayapur Dham it's whatever's there in Vrindavan is also in Mayapur. And so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati established a Govardhan Hill, a miniature, not very big Govardhan Hill, but there is a Govardhan Hill there. There's also a Radha Kund and a Shama Kund. And so they have these places, and we also do like that. Some of our different temples, they've also recreated the places of the pastimes of Krishna. So in Chaitanya Mat you can find these things. The Bhajan the Samadhi of Gorkishore Das Babaji, it was initially there in Navadvip, but there was some problem with the Ganga moving and some erosion, and it was necessary to relocate the Samadhi of Gorkishore Das Babaji. So then they brought his divine body over to Mayapur and placed the Samadhi there at the Chaitanya Mat. So the Chaitanya Mat we won't be going into. And then you'll see also Srivas Angam. After the Chaitanya Mat, we'll come to Srivas Angam, the residence of Srivas Pandit. And that residence of Srivas Pandit, that is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed many of his pastimes. It is said just like Lord Krishna appeared in Mathura, but after his birth in Mathura, his pastimes were all in Vrindavan. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared at the Yoga Peeth. That was the place of his birth. But the place which he chose for many of his pastimes was in the home of Srivas Pandit. We call Srivas Angam, the courtyard of Srivas. Srivas did not stay alone. he stayed with, there were 4 brothers. They all stayed together. And they had their family, their wives and their children. And there was people like Narayani. We heard about Narayani, remember, the daughter of one of Srivas Pandit's brothers, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would give the remnants to Narayani. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Srivas's home regularly to do the nocturnal kirtan. Mahaprabhu decided why we should sleep at night. Let's have kirtan every night instead of sleeping every night. Why waste our time in the mode of ignorance, sleeping? Instead of sleeping, let's have kirtan every night. So after Mahaprabhu came back from Gaya, then he began the nocturnal kirtans in the home of Srivas Pandit. And then also Lord Nityananda used to often reside there in the home of Srivas Pandit. Lord Nityananda first appeared at the residence of Nandan Acharya. Nandan Acharya is our next door neighbor at Mayapur. If you come out of our ISKCON temple and then walk towards the Ghat, where you get the ferry over to Navadvip, the first temple we will see is where the residence of Nandan Acharya was. And it was at the residence of Nandan Acharya Lord Chaitanya brought all the devotees and showed them, introduced them to Lord Nityananda. And even other people sometimes disappeared, they went away, and they would find them in the home of Nandan Acharya. Somehow they like to go to their Nandan Acharya's house, and they would like hide themselves there in the home of Nandan Acharya. So Lord Nityananda appeared at the home of Nandan Acharya, but regularly he was staying at the home of Srivas Pandit. And I think we heard yesterday that Lord Chaitanya, he would test Srivas. He said to Srivas, he said, you know, this Nityananda is a madman. Srivas, he said, you'll ruin your reputation by allowing him to come to your home. He's just a madman. You're a respectable Brahmana. And you have a family, and you have a good name in the society. But if you have this Nityananda in your home, he'll ruin your reputation. But Srivas Pandit said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, I can never give up the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, even if he marries a Muslim girl. Even if I see him coming out of a liquor shop, I will never give up the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So when Lord Chaitanya heard this, he was so pleased with Srivas. He said, because you have so much faith in the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, he gave the benediction that even if the goddess of fortune has to go begging, your home will never know any poverty. And that's the fact that Srivas was a Brahmin, and the Brahmins didn't work. The Brahmins won't take a job, sometimes they will beg, but Srivas didn't worry really about begging. Somehow everything was just provided by the grace of the Supreme Lord. So it happened at the home of Srivas, they were having kirtan, and the Chandkazi came there. As we saw yesterday when they did the drama of the Chandkazi, the Kazi came with his men because the smarter Brahmins, the orthodox Brahmins, did not like that the devotees were all doing kirtan. They were saying, no, they shouldn't chant the Vedas, these people are not Brahmanas, they shouldn't be chanting the Vedas, we should chant silently, and so many different things. So they complained to the Chandkazi and influenced the mind of the Chandkazi, and the Chandkazi came there and broke the Madanga. And that was there in the home of Srivas. It took place. The Chandkazi came and broke the Madanga. So Srivas was quite afraid about the danger that the Chandkazi may come and arrest everyone and make them Mohammedans even. They would lose their caste. So that was very fearful for Srivas and the other devotees, that at any time they could be punished, they could lose their caste, they could be made Mohammedans. But Lord Chaitanya told Srivas, you don't have to worry, that if anything happens, I will come there and I will talk to the Qazi and I will tell them. He said, I will ask them, get your Muslim priest to come and ask him, can he make any of these animals cry in love of God? Ask any of these Mohammedan priests to come and let's see their power. Let's see if they can influence the thinking of the animals and make them cry in love of God. And I will show them. And in order to convince Srivas of his power, he turned to Narayani and he told the little girl Narayani, who was only like 4 years old, Narayani, cry for Krishna. And Narayani immediately became overwhelmed by ecstatic love for Krishna. And she shed tears and trembled, and all the hairs on her body stood on end. And she rolled on the ground again and again, tossing back and forth in ecstasy of love of God. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya convinced Srivas Thakur that he had nothing to fear, that he was going to protect him. So the home of Srivas Pandit is very important, very special place. Sometimes we go there and have kirtans. It's difficult, it's not a very big place. We can try to get in and maybe we can offer obeisances there. But we won't be stopping because there'll be many people around. It'll be difficult. Alright, and then you will see also the residence of Advaita Acharya and Gadadhar Pandit residence. They're also near to the Srivas Angam. Advaita Acharya has 2 homes, one home in Shantipur and one home there in Mayapur. And so he was regularly associated with Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra. And when Sachimata gave birth, then Advaita Acharya came with his wife and they made offerings to the child, everything. So Advaita Acharya's residence is there. Gadadhar Pandit, Gadadhar grew up in the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were childhood associates, and later on when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Gadadhar followed him to Puri also. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finished his pastimes in this world, then Gadadhar also, in a very short time, he also left the world. He could not bear the separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll see the residence of Gadadhar and Advaita Acharya. We can offer obeisances there also. And then, any other place? Yeah, we'll pass also the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Yoga Peeth, and we won't go inside because you'll see when we go, you'll see inside, you'll see there's just so many people everywhere, you can't move. And we'll be lucky to just move along the road. But from outside, we will offer our respects to the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also to Vrida Shiva, the protector of the Dham, the Kshetrapal Shiva, and we offer our respects to him. By his mercy only, we have entered into the holy Dham, and we've been able to visit the different islands of Navadvip and hear all the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And from there, then we'll go on and return to Mayapur, where we have the Magha Mela, and we'll meet with all the other kirtan parties. So all of the different parties are coming, and we're all going to assemble together. Yeah, we'll go by the Gurukula. We're going on that road past the Gurukula. What's it called? The elephants. Yeah. Okay. So breakfast is going to be in Mayapur, of course. Gada Bhavan.
Yeah, in Gada Bhavan, with this wristband. You have to show the wristband. Breakfast prasadam will be given.
Okay, if you have a wristband, you'll get breakfast at Gada Bhavan this morning.
And for lunch, you have to register again.
Okay, so you have to register one more time to get lunch. Okay? Yeah, book score here.
Book score is as follows. For whole parikrama, I am reading.